Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dengel. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to our show. Today we have a special guest. Anyone that makes food, Jason, is a special guest to me.
And if it's pizza, it's even twice as good.
Oh, love pizza. That's the only food that covers all of the 7 different food groups.
So are you a pepperoni guy?
I'm a pepperoni guy. The only thing that I won't eat is anchovies or something that's slimy, like anchovies. But anyway, we have Wirty Penix. Wirty Penix is with the Portsmouth Pizzeria. It's a local business down in the Portsmouth, Ohio area. I got to know Wirty. He started a business plan, or he entered one of our business plan competitions. Wirty, welcome.
Thank you, Pat. Glad to be here, Jason.
Good.
So, Wirty, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I started my business about 7 years ago. I started for all the wrong reasons, and I've stayed for all the right reasons, I think. It's been a pretty rough road, but I think I've got a good product and a good crew, so I think we're finally where we want to be.
And let's see, you have your wife that works there.
My wife, Debbie, my son, Sean, and his fiancee, Sarah. My wife, Debbie, and Sarah also does a bakery inside the pizza shop.
And I know some of the bakery goods are very, very good.
Yeah, all of them are. Pat.
Again.
So it's not only pizza shops, it's bakeries as well.
That's right.
So you kind of got a sweet tooth.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to test them all, don't you? No, it's very, very good food. We had a chance to enjoy the nice ambiance that you have at the business. I'm curious why you even got involved with owning a pizza shop.
You want the true reason or the flattering reason?
It depends upon the words you use.
Well, I was working a lot of hours in a production plant, and I was tired of all the hours and making all the money for somebody else. So I decided I would be the boss, and I would name my own hours, and I would get all the money. But I just haven't met that guy yet. I enjoy making food for people. It's when you make something for somebody to eat and they enjoy it, then that's and it's satisfying. I really enjoy making people happy, and this is the best way I know how to do it.
So you get great satisfaction from your job. But let's go back to one of the misconceptions a lot of small business people think when they get started, that they're going to set their own hours.
Yeah.
I'm tired of working 60 hours for the man, and I'm going to go to work for myself, and I'm going to cut back. How many hours are you actually working now?
I work, a normal day for me is about 14 to 15 hours. That's the time that I'm on the premise. My job starts when I wake up and ends when I go to sleep. So.
And that's the reality of being a small business.
Yes. It's like getting married. You think that you're going to have all the benefits and be able to, but no, she's with you all the time.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
No, she's with you all the time.
You answered that very well.
If I would suggest anybody that's thinking about going into business, and I think it's true of any business that you start. If you're not willing or not able to make a commitment, and I mean a life commitment, then probably you shouldn't go into business.
And I think you mentioned before, it's got to be something that you truly love.
Yes. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, it becomes a job, and then you get into the situation I was at with the production plant. You're starting to look for other ways to get out of it, and then your business will not be very prosperous. So you got to love it, and you got to be able to commit to it. So
Well,
basically, like a wife
You,
or a husband, I guess.
yes, you had many options available to you. It could have been a hamburger store. It could have been a Greek place. Well, why pizza?
Well, I like pizza. Pizza's something that I can eat every day, and I still do eat every day. But a lot of it had to do with availability. I had some partners at the time that were ready to strike out on their own, and they had a facility that they had lined up, and I just came aboard as the fourth partner. And over the years, I've outlived all my partners, but let me clarify that. They didn't die. They just didn't commit. They got divorced, and I kept the relationship going.
Don't you find that true that in many businesses where partners come together, usually there's one principal person that manages the whole thing?
Yeah.
For the most part, not everything.
Normally, I mean, you go in expecting that it's going to all be an equal share, but really, you have the warrior and the guy that's behind the scenes trying to make sure everything's meticulously, accurate, and then you have the publicist or the guy that's really good with the public, that he's out front, talking and drumming up business, and then you have the worker, and I think I was all three of those. The first 2 or 3 years, I tried to keep my job and my career or my business, and that's not a good idea, because you get to situations where you don't know what's going on, and you need to be always, no matter if you have partners or not, you need to know what's going on in your business all the time. So
I think I remember your business. You had a stone coal? How was that a stone pizza?
no, it's a stone lined deck oven.
Oh, okay.
It's a
All right.
78 model. It's a gas oven with the bottom of it's lined with stone, so you start it in the morning, and you keep the heat, and when you bake the pizza, I use screens instead of pans, which allows more contact with the stone, and it crisps up your pizza a lot better. Your dough bakes all the way through. You'll notice a lot of newer restaurant or pizza shops with what they call the impingement ovens or the rotary ovens. They'll be crunchy on the outside, but you'll have what they call a gel line on the inside, and you got just a little bit of a dough flavor. Oh, you don't get that on mine. It's cooked all the way through. It's crunchy on the bottom and chewy in the middle. That's, I think, what a pizza's supposed to be like. So, and the oven definitely is one of the stars in our restaurant. Without that, I couldn't make the pizzas that I make. So.
Well, as a matter of fact, Jason, Wirty brought a video that sort of goes through some of his operations with the magic of Mike and Luke. Both of them make us look, except for the hair, they make us look pretty.
If they fixed the hair, you'd lose the tie. It discolored the tie.
That's true. Well, my hair is real black.
Yes, it is.
Without any further ado, let's go to the video, Mike.
Hi, I'm Wirty Penix. I own the Portsmouth Pizzeria. I've been in business for 6 years since its opening. The one thing I like about pizza the most is it's very diverse. People think that pizza is just a pepperoni and sauce and crust, but you can do a lot of different things with pizza. I think that's why I like it so much. And our pizza's so good because we make it the old-fashioned way. We put a lot of love and attention to detail into it, and that's what makes us the best.
Some of the things that are special about our pizza, the cheese, we use a 50-50 blend mozzarella provolone. And what's different about our cheese is we use a very low moisture, high quality cheese. So as you can tell, there's not a whole lot of grease on top of this pizza, whereas other pizzas, you'll get a lot of grease on there. We use a pork sausage. It doesn't have any fennel in it. The green peppers and mushrooms we actually just prepped up earlier today. You missed the prep crew. And then our sauce we hand make ourselves here. And the dough is the best dough that we can find. We don't use a press. We don't oil our pans. You can kind of see some of the dust that we use here. It's just flour and cornmeal mix. And we do that to hand toss our dough and to also cut down on any extra grease or oil that you'll find on your pizzas other places.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Portsmouth Pizzeria, and I've been working here for about 4.5 years now. I have to say my favorite part about working here is getting to meet all of our new customers and working with our current customers on a personal level when you dine in our restaurant.
I had to do a lot of research because the only thing I knowed about pizza when we started was how to eat it. So I had a lot of research to do to learn how to make pizza, to learn how to slap a dough. It took us 5 years to develop about 4 years to develop our sauce. So we make our own sauce now. When we first started, we didn't. And that's how it all began. Yeah, it's our recipe. All of us can make it. A lot of people that when they make their own sauce, they just they develop a recipe and they don't let anybody else see it. But I didn't want to have to come in on my day off and make sauce, so I taught everybody, Sean, Sarah, my youngest son, we all know how to make it. People gets all, mystified about pizza sauce, but pizza sauce is really very basic. It's just like a spaghetti sauce, and no matter what pizza, where you eat it, the sauce has got the same ingredients. It just depends on how much of each ingredient you use. The spices and herbs are all basically the same. So, oregano, basil, garlic, salt, pepper. What I found, your three most important components of your pizza that affects your taste the most is your dough, your sauce, and your cheese. The type of cheese you use, the type of crust you use, that all affects your flavor. I didn't really think that dough was that big of a deal until I started making pizza and tasting different doughs. And then you could tell a big difference. 2 cheese blend, it's a mozzarella and a provolone. They use the provolone for flavor and the mozzarella for texture. So mozzarella melts and flows real good, and provolone has a stronger flavor. And then we also, here we use cheddar on some pizzas, and we'll use Parmesan, which gives it a lot different, a more hearty flavor.
I'm Sean, and I've been with Portsmouth Pizzeria for 6 years. We have the best pizza around because we have wonderful ingredients, we have a wonderful company, and we have, most of all, wonderful customers. We use absolutely the best ingredients we can find. We make our own sauce. We hand prep all of our produce that comes through the doors. We do everything that we can here to make sure that the product you get is the absolute best. I get to see, smiles on faces and making people happy. That's what it's all about. Our oven is very different. It's stone deck. It's heated from underneath. That's a lot better than a lot of convection ovens around here because the convection ovens don't really cook the pizza all the way through. They just brown the top really well, and you get a gummy, underdone crust on the bottom. Our pizza oven, we get everything done from top to bottom all the way through. Our method is a combination of what a lot of people do, but it's all the right things. and that's what sets us apart. We do all the right things in here. We don't skip any steps or cut any corners.
We're always open to finding locally grown produce and products and things like that. Finding a product that is good for our needs and also at a price point that we can give it to our customers without breaking the bank. That's the challenge.
The hardest part about starting a business would be you don't realize how much work it is until you start. A lot of people start a business they want to be their own boss, or they think they'll make a lot of money right off. But honestly, that's kind of fantasy when you really get into it. You realize that you have to work really hard to get to be your own boss and to make the money that you initially started to make.
Let me give you 3 good reasons why I like running a pizza shop. The first reason is you get to make beautiful food, delicious food that people love. I mean, no matter what time of day it is or what's going on in your life, you want pizza. The second reason is it gives you a sense of satisfaction knowing that this is something that you've done with the help of your crew. You've built this and you made it yours. The third reason is you have the freedom and the ability to deal with each problem individually. You don't have a set script that you have to follow, because every problem that you come up against is not the same. So you need a little bit of flexibility to deal with each problem individually the way it is.
You know, the most important part of our business is the customers. Customers are what matters most to us and to our philosophy as a business. We want to make the customers happy, so therefore we're happy. If we have a happy customer, we have a happy life.
Job on that, Wirty.
Thank you. All nerves.
But there's a couple questions that I had. Slapping dough. Do you have to find your own specific deer, or?
No, you have to find your own specific technique.
Technique? And
The
now
dough just comes.
So I would imagine as you were pressing out the dough,
When you slap, you take your hands like this. You want to rotate your dough. So instead of coming straight over, you're just walking it back and forth. You want to bring your hand like this, and it rotates your dough. So each time it slaps a different spot, and you slap the center. The edge should already be, you do an edge stretch, that should already have your edges ready. So then you slap the center, and you keep rotating it, and that keeps the dough moving, so you don't slap one spot thin, and you'll have a thick spots and thin spots. And
So what's the purpose of that?
it's a dry preparation. You don't have to use any oil. You use a dust instead. If you stretch it, you have to. You can now Domino's, for instance, they do use a pan stretch, and it's a dry stretch. But I think if you're going to stretch it, slap it. It's much easier, much faster. And if you do it any other way, like a pan stretch, you have to use oil on your dough, which if you start with oil, you end with oil. I mean, because you got your pizza, your pepperoni, your cheese, your sauce has liquids in it.
Sure.
So if you have to put extra liquid on your dough to get it to do what you want it to do, you're just adding liquid. And so I like slapping it. It also works the dough. Dough, when it ferments or when it proofs, it forms gas inside of it, and that's what gives you the bubble chambers. When you slap it and you work it, it kind of dissipates some of the gas bubbles, so when you cook it, it don't swell up big old knots and bubbles inside your sauce ring. What happens when it bubbles up like that, all your ingredients runs off of it, and so you just have a dry, burnt piece of dough sticking up in the middle of your pizza. And so when you hand slap it like that, it helps keep that down.
What about cheese? You had mentioned something about the provolone and the.
The basic mix nowadays is a provolone mozzarella mix called a 50-50 blend. Mozzarella, if you taste it by itself, it has a milky, a creamy, light flavor. So if you put your sauce and everything else on your pizza, it's going to smother the flavor. But it flows real good. So when it melts, it spreads real good. Provolone, on the other hand, is a sharper cheese. So it has a heavier flavor. It'll stand up better to other ingredients, but it don't flow as well. So if you mix them together, you get a cheese that flows, evenly, plus you get the good flavor that comes through the other ingredients pretty well.
So you became an expert in pizza. How did you get into the bakery side of the business?
Well, I actually don't do any baking. Other than pizzas. My wife and Sarah, that you've seen on the film, they're the ones that does the bakery. But actually, going from a pizza shop to a bakery, that's a natural marriage. You're already baking dough, and you have some idea of what dough's supposed to do or what bread's supposed to do. So that's a natural progression, actually. But they love making cakes, and they're doing pretty well with it.
So what do they specialize in on the bakery side?
Cakes, mostly. They do cakes, cupcakes. They're doing pumpkin pies now for Thanksgiving, pumpkin rolls. They use all natural, or I'm sorry, that's an incorrect statement. It's all natural. They use all fresh ingredients, like the pumpkin that they use. My wife actually breaks it down herself from a whole pumpkin. She cooks it down, and then she uses it to make her pie filling. You can tell the difference. You taste the pumpkin instead of the spices. But yeah, they're cookies. They do a lot of cookies. That's a big thing.
just recently, Portsmouth, were they not the hosts of Miss Ohio? Or what was the...
Well, they were. We catered the pageant event. But that's kind of a little bit.
You sent cakes and cookies to a beauty pageant event?
No, I'm sorry. Pasta and salad. But that's kind of like a under the radar situation for reasons that I'm not allowed to discuss in public.
I understand.
But they loved it, I guess.
But you do cater.
Yeah, we're trying to get into catering a little more because when you cater, it's like a different restaurant every job. I mean, you make pizza, you go in the morning, you make pizza, you go home at night, you just made pizza. When you cater, everybody wants something different. They want pasta, salads, sandwiches. I've had pizza. Any pizza parlor can boast that they cater pizza. If you deliver pizza, you're catering. But I enjoy making the pastas also. I've had a lot of people compare my pasta to Melini Cucini. I think I said that correctly. They said that it stands up to theirs, so I guess I'm doing pretty good. So.
Jason, since we work with you more than I work with the students here at the university, one of the questions always is, in building, how do you build a business plan? And it's through the College of Business where the students are put through the paces of building a business plan. And some of the business plans that you and I have seen have been on pizza shops. And wouldn't it be nice to know what really a new person wanting to get into a pizza shop, some of the suggestions you might have, or some of the recommendations you might have?
Well, first thing is, what a lot of people don't like to think about is the money end of it. What I've learned, that if you're going to apply for a business loan, if you don't have enough cash on hand or enough funds on hand to cover at least half your loan, don't do it, because you'll get into it. When I first started, or when we first started, we ran out of money quickly, and then you just struggle. It's an uphill struggle. It's not impossible. It's just not as fun as if you have the backing. And like I said earlier, if you're not willing or able to commit, then, and I mean a life commitment, not just a couple hours a day, then it's not for you. And if you don't like dealing with people, don't. Because you deal with a lot of people, and they're not always fun. But the most important thing, I think, is test your demographic. Make sure that you're not opening a pizza shop in a town of 20,000 that's already saturated with pizza shops. Unlike what I done in Portsmouth, where we don't hardly have any.
And you said that sarcastically.
Yes, I was being sarcastic. Make sure that there's a market for what you're starting. And just because that there's more pizza shops there don't necessarily mean that there's a market for another one.
Right.
Because all you're doing is you're not really creating more customers, you're just sharing the ones that's already there. So you're making everybody's percentage smaller, basically, is all you're doing. So if it's not, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't have one big enough to support everybody, just make sure. And because you're not, I thought, well, I'll just create new people that's not eating pizza now. No, you won't. If they're not eating pizza, they're not going to eat pizza when you come. They don't like pizza.
So when you first started, how did you identify your market?
I didn't. I knew people eat pizza. I got a business degree in the process of running a company, actually. So all the things that I learned that you're supposed to do, I'd already done them the wrong way. So the best way to learn business is actually the wrong way. You do everything wrong, there's only right ways left to do it.
But that's the hard way to do it.
Yes, it is very much the hard way. So definitely listen when they tell you test market. You have to test market. And don't use friends.
Because friends will tend
They'll
to
lie
tell
to
you.
Well, we don't call it lying.
They tell you what you want to hear.
Right, they sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And your food may be okay, and your friends may love it, but they're supposed to love it through your friends.
Yeah.
So go outside your friends and get a good test market.
We only have a couple minutes left. Why don't you share with our listeners how they can get a hold of you, where your restaurant is located, and if they need some catering, how do they get a hold of you?
My restaurant's located at 1401 11th Street in Portsmouth, Ohio.
Say that again. It's 1401 11th Street. Okay.
Portsmouth, Ohio. My phone number is 740-354-8800.
354-8800. Okay. Well, that's pretty easy to
Call us
remember.
anytime. And that's the same number you get a hold of the bakery. If you need a cake for any occasion, cupcakes, cookies, pizza, pasta, we're your people.
And you're open 7 days a week?
No, actually, we just decided to close on Monday, so 6 days a week. Monday was a lose money day, so we closed it down.
And your hours?
From 11 to 11.
11 to 11.
Wirty, I want to thank you very much for
thanks
being
for
on
having
our
me.
show. It's always a pleasure working with you.
I enjoy it.
Next week we have Tom High School. He's with Paw Sensitive. It's a dog training program, and you have a couple dogs, don't you?
I have several dogs, yes.
And you
so
have a couple-
is this obedience training?
Obedience, yes.
So can he fix you?
Fix me.
his
and-
wife
hey, no. I'm Patrick.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Wirty.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mike and Luke, for helping out.